Welcome to a brand new episode of Max Talks Box Office here on Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. Today we're going to be breaking down the box office weekend of June the 12th to the 14th, 2026, where we saw the new release of Disclosure Day. We're also going to break down the worldwide numbers and domestic numbers so far for this year and look ahead to a busy weekend in theaters heading into Father's Day weekend. So welcome back to Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Dinnenberg. I do this box office breakdown show every single Monday. So without further ado, guys, let's get into discussing the box office right away here on this video, breaking down the domestic box office of this past weekend, which I said was June 12th to the 14th, 2026. And at number one this past weekend is Disclosure Day from Steven Spielberg. It is a $44 million opening for Disclosure Day domestically. Overall, it is at $92.8 million. Now, this is definitely a better opening than projections were. Some people thought this movie would open around 30 to 35 million. The fact they got a 4 in front of it, I think, is a good thing for Disclosure Day. Did this movie have a big impact? I really wouldn't say that. I'm someone who lives on film, social media, and YouTube and things of that nature. And not a lot of people are really discussing this film. It had a B cinema score, not really a great cinema score. I think one of the worst cinema scores actually for a Spielberg film, which is very interesting. But importantly here is that the film got to around 100 million. Now, another important thing is the movie's budget is 115 million. So it needs to be around the $287 million mark to break even at the box office. Now, I don't think that will happen. This movie needs to make another $200 million, which I don't see possible with a lot of heavy hitters, including a movie that's opening this weekend, which should be the biggest opening of the year domestically. So that could really hurt Disclosure Day here. Are people going to be affected by this? I don't think so. I think Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor's careers are going to be just okay following Disclosure Day. Emily Blunt was already in Devil Wears Prada 2 earlier this year, which has grossed over $600 million. So she's going to be just fine, and she'll probably get more leading roles in big movies like this, I do believe, moving forward. A Quiet Place Part 3 is coming out next year. So things are moving in the right direction for her. Josh O'Connor as well, appearing in Challengers, this after a season in The Crown, and also in the third Knives Out movie. Things are on the up and up for everyone involved. I think everyone's wondering, is this like the last time Spielberg makes a big blockbuster film? We shall see. At number two this past weekend is Obsession, once again from Focus Features in its fifth weekend, only dropping 25% in its fifth weekend. Another 19 million for Obsession. It is up to 188 domestic and 286 million worldwide. This movie is going to pass 300 million worldwide on a $750,000 budget. It is one of the most successful independent films ever made, and just amazing that Obsession has been in theaters for over a month now, and it's still raking in around $20 million per weekend at least. That is just unbelievable. It's not taken a major dip. This is its biggest drop so far in theaters, and it's 25%. That is amazing. I've said this for weeks. Curry Barker has a lot of projects, and he also announced on a podcast today, actually, which is why I like waiting until Monday so we get these final numbers, that Focus Features will be putting on a full awards campaign for Obsession. So we'll see if not just is Obsession a box office big hit, or also, can this film become an awards threat later in the year? We have a long time before we even get into thick of things here, as we're in the middle and just beginning of summer. So we'll see if Obsession can stand the test of time 6 months, 8 months from now when awards season really heats up. At number three this past weekend is Scary Movie, which is in its second weekend. It did take a massive 73% drop in its second weekend, 14.5 million for Scary Movie, 84 domestic, 173 worldwide. But this movie, again, is swimming in money. The budget was around 30 or so million. So this movie is swimming in money. Now, yes, did it take an absolute pitfall in its second weekend? Yes, but the movie was already past its break-even point on its opening weekend. So be sure to see more from Marlon Wayans and this creative team. If not, more Scary Movies, a possible White Chick sequel. People are definitely clamoring for more Marlon Wayans. But again, is this a good drop? Not good at all. But again, this is all cherry on top money now over the next couple of weeks while Scary Movie remains in theaters for Paramount. At number 4 is Backrooms from A24. In its third weekend, took its biggest drop so far, 57%, but another 11 million for Backrooms. It is up to, making sure I have this correct, 160 million domestic, 248 worldwide. Of course, Backrooms is now already the most successful A24 film by over $100 million at this point. Backrooms is made for $10 million. Again, Backrooms, Obsession are two of the biggest stories of the year so far as pertains to Hollywood, movies, and the box office. Backrooms, in its third weekend, sure, not doing as well as Obsession, but both films are well over $200 million on budgets so little. These movies are swimming in money. There have been talks now of a Backrooms 2, of Kane Parsons returning back to direct. I could totally see A24 wanting to continue on after the monster success that was this first film that came out a couple weeks ago. And wrapping up the top 5 this past weekend is Masters of the Universe in its second weekend. Also took a big dip, just like Scary Movie, took a 70% drop in its second weekend, 8.6 for Masters of the Universe. It has only made 46 million domestic and 86 million worldwide. This movie is definitely a bomb, massive bomb for Prime Video, for Amazon. The movie had a $200 million budget. Yes, I'm not lying to you, a $200 million budget. So that means Masters of the Universe has to make at least $500 million. That's just to break even. And this movie is not even at $100 million worldwide in its first 2 weekends. This is definitely a disaster. I can't imagine Amazon moves forward with other Masters of the Universe projects, spin-offs, shows, or a sequel to this. Look, Dungeons and Dragons a couple years ago opened and had better numbers than Masters of the Universe. It has not gone to sequel. A big difference between those two films are Dungeons and Dragons was widely appraised, both by critics and audiences. Didn't really do that well at the box office. Has not gotten a peep about more films in that franchise. Masters of the Universe, not as well liked by both critics and audiences and doing a lot less. I would be shocked if Amazon moves forward with any Masters projects in the coming years. Well, let's move on to the domestic box office, guys, for this overall year of 2026. Super Mario still at number 1, followed by Michael getting to number 2 this past weekend. Hail Mary at 3, Prada at 4, Obsession is now at number 5, Hoppers at 6, Mando and Grogu at 7, Backrooms at 8, Scream 7, wrapping up the top 10 domestic movies of the year. Looking at the worldwide now numbers for the year of 2026, Super Mario is the only billion-dollar movie of the year so far. I think that will change with the movie hitting theaters this weekend. Michael is at 932 million right now worldwide. So yes, it is the most successful music biopic now of all time, passing Bohemian Rhapsody, which came out in 2018. The question is, it needs around 70 million to get to $1 billion. Can Michael get there? I think it's going to be difficult, but we shall see. Hail Mary at 3, Prada 2 at 4, Hoppers at 6, Mando and Grogu now crossing $300 million, but it will be from a box office perspective, the lowest number for a live action movie of all time. Solo is at 392. Mando is pretty far behind that. I don't think it will catch up to Solo's box office. Obsession at 8, Backrooms at 9, Wuthering Heights wrapping up the top 10. So let's now look ahead to the movies that are hitting theaters, guys, this weekend. We have 3 releases, but the biggest release by far is Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 4. This is one of the most successful animated franchises of all time. The last 2 movies were billion-dollar films for Disney and Pixar. It is hitting theaters this Friday. The projections are telling us that this will be the biggest opening of the year so far, and more likely a guaranteed billion-dollar film. So some of the critics have seen it already and have been really enjoying it. So I think it's a perfect movie to come out for Father's Day. The families will be out in full stop, so definitely get your tickets now if you've not gotten your tickets yet for Toy Story 5, but it's hitting theaters this weekend. Opposing it, we have some lighter movies hitting theaters. A24 has another movie hitting theaters this weekend. That is The Death of Robin Hood. That comes from director Michael Sarnowski, who's coming off of directing Pig and A Quiet Place Day One. The movie stars Hugh Jackman and Jodie Comer. So we'll see if A24 with a rated R serious movie will be good opposition for Toy Story 4. And some other indie movies, you have Leviticus from Neon, that's hitting theaters this weekend, as well as Girls Like Girls, also hitting theaters this weekend. So what are you guys going to see in theaters this weekend? What did you see this past weekend? Let me know down in the comments. Like this video, guys. Tons of videos are coming to the channel this week. I'm going to an AMC Screen Unseen tonight. So get my added theater reaction for that and the review for that movie tomorrow. Wednesday, I should have a review for a streaming movie, but it's also my birthday, so I'm not sure if I'm doing a video yet on my birthday. We shall see. Thursday, you'll get my added theater reaction and review for Toy Story 5. So tons of videos. And then also, guys, back here on Monday, I'll be breaking down another box office breakdown show. Subscribe to my Patreon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really appreciate it. See you guys later.